think these will survive up until 10, and then they'll be destroyed.
Oh, shit. Shit,
Push
son.
it slightly close to it, but not close.
Gotta go from here to there. It'd be funny if I actually got the recruiter's office exact. Because this map was extremely zoomed out, and holy shit.
What?
Holy shit, I actually did. I just dragged the dropper exactly on the place. And I didn't see it. It's like as if it knew what I wanted. Google, it's adapting.
It's like everyone's going there. Google's using some processing to figure out what searches people are doing so they can find out exactly where you're going to go when you go there. They're like, oh, I've read your data and I've seen much of your typing. I think you're going here. And you're just like, oh, I found it myself. And it's like, no, you didn't. It knows everything you want. And more. It just gives you responses you don't want because it wants you to want them. And with enough coaxing, you will.
It's gonna be annoying. I want to take my books with me so I could study on the way there. And then, obviously, study, just read aloud or some shit like that. Entertain other people with boring facts, and then and then I get there and I take all my books away, and I'm like, God damn it!
Those aren't allowed here.
I would
like
say.
Then you look over to the side, see someone with a PSP, and you're just like, what the hell? The world that's backwards.
I really do feel like that from time to time. I feel like I'm gonna get there and I'm gonna be like, this fucker snuck something in. I'm not gonna report him, but you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna see where this goes. It's gonna be fun.
Just gonna break his neck. First test was killing. He achieved maximum usage.
Okay. So, Chris, in this duration of the rest of this time, I need to read How to Write an Argument, and what the fuck is? I forgot to put in a works edit page in my last paper.
Well, you're going to jail.
Yeah. I was like,
that's what it feels like.
I didn't know. No, it doesn't feel like that. I was just like, turn that shit in with that works edit. Failed the damn thing. Why did I even bother trying at this point? Okay.
I'll push this up to 9, but I don't want to go any further than that. That thing's going to break if I'm not careful.
Let's see. Much of the writing that you do for your college classes is an argumentation. It may not be called that formally, but any writing exercise that asks you to state your opinion or position and defend it with evidence that it is true or reasonable is in the form of an argument. However, you state your opinion or make an assertive assertion and... Okay, fuck this. Let's just skim this. I'm not gonna read this fucking chapter. I'm gonna read this chapter, go to class, take some notes about something. I'm gonna get a handout and I'm gonna be like, I should just wait until I got this, because then I know what's expected of me. You know what I mean? Yeah. Let's see, all arguments begin with a position, claim, or proposition that is debatable, that has an opposing viewpoint. Remember that this is not only a starting point. Why did they bold that? You know, whatever. Brainstorming or free writing. Examples of narrowing a focus. Suppose you are interested in a subject of downloading copyrighted music from the internet without paying for it. Currently illegally, but still being done all over the world. Okay, some people...
I should do it now.
Some people...
I've been inspired by this book. Lawsuit.
They just state it like it's a fact, and I'm like, it pretty much is now. It's one of those facts that no one wants to admit to, because
I don't think anyone wants to tempt it too much either, because it's like there's too many people. We can't fight them all.
Exactly. Let's see. Some people argue that this is an act of violating intellectual property rights. Should those who download music from the internet be charged with a crime? Should those who wish to download the music from the internet have to pay for that service? People would disagree on how these questions should be answered, thus they are legitimate subjects for argumentation. Suppose you believe that no, downloading music from the internet should not be regarded as a criminal act. What other questions does the position lead to then? Should downloading music be free and open to anyone who wants to do it? If so, what is the first way to treat artists whose copyrighted music is being downloaded from the internet? Do they not have the right to profit from the use of their music? Let's see. Consider the suggestions of a grading system in the college level be abolished. You might wonder, should the grading system be abolished? Who would benefit from abolishment of the grading system? Why should the grading system be abolished? Why should the grading system not be abolished? What would replace the grading system were it to be abolished? Oh God, abolished. I'm going to abolish the word abolish.
It's all abolished.
Structuring an argument with the thesis statement. Oh fuck, I hate it when you do things backwards in books. You know, it's like... fully developed paragraphs in the body of the paper that advance, support, illustrate, or otherwise relate to the thesis and a conclusion. Credibility, context, statement of case, proposition, refutal of opposing argument, concession of opposing argument, development your own argument, conclusion. Well, look at that. It actually even summarizes its own good shit jazz right there. Look at that. Introduction. Familiarize your audience with the subject. Provide background on your context, convey credibility, and establish a tone. Statement of your case. Provide rational and need for the argument. Wait, what? Proposition. Asserts a position or claim that you support, demonstrate, or prove in your course of the paperwork. Refutation of opposing arguments. Mention or counters potential evidence or objections of opposing arguments. Concession. Acknowledge, validate of some opposing arguments of evidence. Development of argument. Offer conviction, credibility, evidence to support the proposition. Conclusion. Bring back paper to satisfactory end. Know your audience. Establish a proper tone. Anticipate an argument of the opposition. Make concessions. Follow logical line of reasoning, such as deductive, inductive, syllogism, and a premise. Major premises, minor premises, conclusions. Let's see, a major premises, all men are mortal. Minor premises,
all mortal are not men.
And the conclusions. Circus is a man. Minor conclusion. Circus is mortal. Okay. Major premise. Driving while drunk is illegal. That's a major premise. Minor premise is Joe was drunk when he drove home from the party. Conclusion. Joe committed a crime.
That's an abrupt conclusion.
So major premise is stating a fact. All men are mortal, or driving is illegal, or what is another fact? Skin cancer can kill. And then with your minor premises, you state an example of that. Such as, I stayed out too long, I got skin cancer.
No. That doesn't
Joe
happen
was
too
drunk.
often, I don't
No,
think.
that's a conclusion. That's a conclusion. I have skin cancer. I have skin cancer is your conclusion. Your minor premises. This is where it gets very interesting. Joe was drunk when he drove home from the party. And then your conclusion from that. So cause and effect. So cause, I stayed out in the sun for 5 hours straight, for 5 days straight. I have skin cancer. That's your conclusion. Your minor premises is what you did for, I see what they did there. See, when major premises, all men are mortal. Minor premises, Socrates is a man. Conclusion, Socrates is immortal.
Immortal.
Follow a logic of reasoning. What the
Can't
hell?
put an A next to that. It just doesn't work. And then he's amoral. Now it's even more confusing.
Example 1. Observation 1. Students enter the classroom, have wet hair and damp clothes. Observation 2. Students typically come from outside the building to class. Conclusion. It must be raining outside.
I felt like it was going to some weird side. It was just like, oh, children are wet from coming outside. Conclusion, all children must be wet constantly. And it's like, that's a hell of a conclusion.
With induction, you must be very careful that your data to indeed warrant for conclusion. For instance, consider the following example as a hasty generalization. Observation 1. The daily temperature for the last several days have been unusually high. Man, the car's wheels are melting out there. Observation 2. I don't remember it ever being this damn hot out during the summer. This damn hot out during the summer. So your conclusion. You must be experiencing global... Whoa, hold the fuck up. That is
exactly. That's the degree I was talking about.
Oh, you should have shot yourself in the foot there, lad.
That's hasty generalization for you.
It's like...
It's only funny if it's not real.
Holy shit. Oh, fuck. You got claims, then you have warrants, and then you have data or grounds. Warrants. Oh, shit. We're getting legal now. Conditions for rebuttal. Confessions. Concessions. Backing. Roger. What's a Reagan argument?
Tear down this wall?
A logic appeal. Ethical appeal. Emotional appeal. These last three made sense to me. I don't know to what, but we have already an argument. Avoid common rhetorical fallacies. Yes, I read that correct. Ad hominem argument. In Latin terms, against the man, or towards the person. The appeals of arguments that attack the character of the argument rather than the argument itself. For example, arguing that because someone has been in prison, you shouldn't believe anything he or she has to say. Arguing that a candidate would not make a good senator because he or she is a single parent, that a candidate would not be effective as a mayor because of his homosexuality, ignores the more important questions of qualification. So it's against the man. So in other words, just pulling up any evidence against the subject just cause.
Anything negative you can use as a weapon.
So for example, when I go to meet maps, they're gonna be like, you take vitamins? Yes. That
Going to jail.
They're like, so you take vitamins, I see. I'm gonna argue.
Druggy.
They're gonna argue that somehow increases my performance. And I'm like, I'm taking 1 a day vitamins. So that's what an ab hominem argument is. Like, you're like, you clean out your ears, lad? Yes. Huh.
Sufficient in hearing skills.
You stuck
write that down.
That's how it's gonna feel, though. Apparently, you have to pop your ears in order to qualify for airborne. You know how to pop your ears? Do you know what popping your ears is?
I thought it only happened when you went up in plane or whatnot and it would change in pressure.
No, it's have you ever yawn and your ears somehow close and you don't hear too well out of them?
Oh yeah, I've had that happen. You see, because I sneeze, right, and I usually plug my nose, which is something you're not supposed to do.
Yes.
Sometimes it causes an odd pressure, and thus my ears get kind of weird. So I have to either breathe in or breathe out with my nose closed, so that I can build the pressure up to put it out or in as it needs to be to change my ability to hear. Because I won't know I've got an issue with hearing until I accidentally sneeze or yawn. And it pops my ear, and then I'll realize, wait, I can hear better in half of my head.
Yeah. So that's what popping your ears are. I can do it on demand if I wanted to.
Yeah, I can do that too. You just have to really push yawning, basically. What is this not?
I mean, my recruiter somewhat looked at me like I didn't know what the hell that. When I inquired about it, because I didn't know what that definition meant exactly, and he was just like, he doesn't know how to do it, and he has the airborne patch, and I'm thinking if you couldn't, what the fuck? So can you touch your nose with your tongue? You can't be a neuroscientist without it.
I can be a neuroscientist. We can all be neuroscientists if we really believe.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Circular reasoning or begging the question. What the fuck? Example. The sort of logic occurs in statements such as, we do it because that's the way we've always done it, which assumes the validity of a particular way of doing things without questioning or examining its importance or relevance. Other examples are stating that your candidate is the best person for an office because she is better than the other candidates, or a parent replying because I said so. So a child asks why he or she must do something. That is the circular reasoning or begging the question. You're begging the question. Why? Just cause. 2.
Exactly.
Either or reasoning example. Arguing that if a fellow citizen does not support your country's involvement in the war as you do, he or she is not patriotic. The implication is that you're either you are for the country or you're against it, and that the right way is my way.
Yes or no argument, that's not acceptable.
Now keep in mind, this is rhetorical devices to avoid, which I don't do this, but I can imagine some people doing. Emotional charged languages. Loaded words such as those whose meanings or emotional association vary from person to person or group to group, and slanted words, those who connotations suggesting meaning or opposing an actual meaning are selected for their emotional assertion. Example, invoking imagery of a dirty homeless child in rags living on a dangerous streets and eating scraps of garbage when arguing for increased funds for children's services and an appeal to the emotion. Abstract words such as democracy, freedom, justice, and loyal are usually loaded. Words may be slanted or convey as good associations such as those used in advertisements. Cool, refreshing, or smooth to convey a bad association. Sweltering, noisy, and stuffy. In arguments, writing loaded words or slanted language becomes problematic when it is used to deceive or to manipulate. That's all advertisement. The false analogy. Oh shit, there's a lot of things the red herring. An argument against the death penalty on the grounds of an innocent person to have executed avoid the issue of why the death penalty is wrong, citing the execution of innocent people is a red herring. stereotyping, hasty generalizations. Man that came up to global warming was hasty generalization. Faulty appeal to authority. Oversimplification. Holy shit, what's this? Arguing that a problem of homelessness could be solved by giving jobs to homeless people. Okay.
Yeah, it's like similar to saying the global warming one. Like, if you said, people shouldn't smoke cause global... Like, people shouldn't turn on their lighter because it causes global warming, and it's just one lighter.
Yeah. Overgeneralization.
Although technically it's true, but that would require a lot more lighters.
Yeah. Or like, I believe there's a poisonous chemical that's in toothpaste, and if you can ingest enough of it, you develop stomach cancer, but you need to be eating 5 toothpaste tubes a day.
Sounds delicious.
To, like, develop it.
You find those people that are super OCD and brushing their teeth like crazy.
No.
Is there any way to pull out of this? I gotta look this up, apparently.
Oh, you gotta look up OCD people brushing their teeth.
No, not that.
Oh.
I'm trying to get this atomic assembler to let go of its, of the broken, strange matter things, but the issue is that when I put something to pull out of it, it's just pulling out of one spot. And there's 6 different spots, so I have to have all 6 axes covered if I want to remove from it right now. I need something that can generally remove from it.
Holy shit. Let's read this one. I want to read this. The Myth of Mean Girls. It's written by Mike Males and Media Chessieland. Mike Males, senior researcher of the Center of Juvenile and Criminal Justice, is the author of Scapegoat Generation's American War on Adolescence, Framing Youth, 10 Myths about the Next Generation, Smoked, Why Joey is Still Smiling, Juvenile Injustice, America's Young Violence Hoax. So, yeah, see, this individual knows what they're talking about. Let's see if they know how to argue their point, though. Okay, so, this article, The Myth of Mean Girls. If nine South Hardley, Mass. high school students, 7 of them girls, are provided to have criminal bullied another girl who then committed suicide, as prosecutors have charged they deserve serious legal and community accommodations. However, many of the news reports and inflamed commentaries have gone beyond expressing outrage at the teenagers involved and instead invoke such cases as evidence of a modern epidemic of mean girls that adults simply fail to comprehend. Elizabeth, I'm not reading that last name. That's fucking Russian. The district attorney of South Hardley case declined to charge school officials who she said were aware of the bullying because of their lack of understanding of her harassment associated with teen dating relationships. A People magazine article headline, Mean Girls, suggested that a simple case 2 years ago raised troubling questions about teen violence and cyberspace wars. Again and again we hear of girls hitting, brawling, and harassing. So first introduction paragraph is a overview of the situation before. Equivalent to seeing bullying, right? If you see people bully or you see an argument, you assess the situation before you involve, if you choose to involve yourself with it. So that's what the first paragraph is background. You need to establish that people don't know what you're talking about or what you're arguing about. Paragraph 2. But this panic is a hoax. We have examined every major index of crime on which the authorities rely. None show a recent increase in girls' violence. In fact, every reliable measure shows that violence by girls has been plummeting for years. Major offenses like murder and robbery by girls are at their lowest levels in 4 decades. Fights, weapon possession, assaults, and violent injuries by by and towards girls have been plunging. What? Plunging. For at least a decade. Why does it feel so weird coming out? Plunging.
I don't know.
Yeah, so he states his opinion in paragraph 2. And if I'm correct. Yeah. If I am correct, his thesis statement is fights, weapon possession, assaults, and violent injuries by and towards girls have been plunging for a few decades. So that's his thesis statement right there. He's going to argue the case that mean girls aren't necessarily a thing. Or at least a reason for such recent activity. If they're at the lowest, of course, an act equivalent to murder is going to raise eyebrows. So it's sort of like a food chain. It's like a predator and prey graph. Alright, so paragraph 3. The Federal Bureau of Investigation Uniform Crime Reports, based on a report from more than 10,000 police agencies, is the most reliable source of arrests and sex and age. From 1995 to 2008, according to the FBI, girl arrest rates for violent offenses fell by 32%, including declines of 27% for aggravated assault, 43% of robberies, and 63% for murder. Rates of murder by girls are at their lowest levels in the last 40 years. So he's stating a little evidence to support his thesis statement. Paragraph 5. The National Crime Victimization Survey, a detailed annual survey for more than 40,000 Americans by the Department of Justice Bureau of Justice Statistics. God damn it. That's a Department of Justice Bureau of Justice Statistics. The DJBJS.
The Justice League.
of Justice Bureau of Justice Statistics. It's considered the most reliable measure of crime because it includes offenses not reported to the police from 1993 through 2007. The survey reported significant decline in rates of victimization of girls, including all violent crimes, down 57%, serious and misdemeanor assaults, robbery, and sex offenses. Public health agencies like the National Center, that's more information. At least where he's stating where he's getting his information from. Public health agencies like the National Center of Health Statistics confirm huge decline in murder and violent assaults of girls. For example, as the number of females ages 10 to 19 increased by 3.4 million, murders of girls fell from 598 in 1990 to 376 in 2006. Rates of murder by adolescent girls are now at their lowest levels since 1968 through 48% below rates in 1990 and 45% lower than 19. Okay. And still more support. He's just breaking apart his ideas, which I really felt. Whatever. The Bureau of Justice Statistics intimidated parent violence in the United States survey. Its annual doctrine of school crime safety in University of Michigan monitoring the future survey, Centers of Disease Control, Youth Risks, Behavior Surveillance, all measure girls' violent offending and victimization, virtually without exceptions. Those surveys show major drops in fights and other violences, particularly relationships violences involving girls over the age of 15 to 20 years old. These surveys also indicate that girls are no more likely to report being in fights, being threatened or injured with a weapon or violently victimize others today than in the first survey in the 1970s. So he's pointing out a flaw with it. These striking improvements in girl personal safety include from rape to relationship violence directly contradict recent newspaper reports of girls suffering increasing danger from violence of their female to male peers alike.
This atomic assembler's just giving me a hassle.
There is only one measure that would be in any indicator of girls' violence that has risen. It is both the dubious, outdated FBI report shows assault arrests of girls under the age of 18 increased by 6,300, which was a peak of 16,000 in 1995, then sharply dropped. Even this is measure, it's not girls who have gotten more violent faster, it's middle-aged men and women. The age group of many authorities and commenters disparaging girls among 35 to 54-year-olds. He's using a lot of emotionally charged words in here. I've read, like, the word justice 17 times in, like, one paragraph.